Happy Friday!
Hi.
How you doing, Alpha?
Hello.
Dude, look at you. You look all dressed up. You must be feeling better.
I am doing a lot better. Goodness, I felt a little bit off this week because I feel like it's a change in weather because we had like really hot days and then suddenly it was just cold. And after that, I was like, oh, goodness, every day I was like, I'm so tired. I have headaches. I was like, yeah, no, this is not me. This is not it. But we're all going into summer, so yeah, change of season kind of does those sorts of things, eh?
See, that's crazy because I'm going into winter. It's like, man, my summer's about over. It's crazy. Yeah. So, hey, everybody, want to welcome to another Friday night party. Now, I don't know if you guys saw the banner down there, but this marks 2 years of Friday night parties. Right, 2 years. Crazy that we're still here. And I want to say thank you for joining us on these Friday nights because, man, without you guys here, it just wouldn't be the same. So thank you all and happy birthday to everyone of the Freaky Friday family. So let's find out who we got joining us tonight. Do what?
I say 2 years is quite a long time, eh? You wouldn't think it's been 2 years already. You're just like, damn. Actually,
you know what's scary?
2 whole years.
Right. What? It's scary. So we still have things to talk about after 2 years. That's because life changes. There's always something new, and we never know what's going to happen. Because even if we have a topic, the topic goes by the wayside about 20 minutes in. It's like, yeah, I don't know. We're going down these rabbit holes, and away we go. So I want to thank you for joining us. Oh yeah. So let's find out who we got joining us tonight. So we got, of course, got Wild Angel says happy Friday and happy second birthday to Freaky Friday. Thank you, Wild Angel. Yes. We're 2 years old, which is about my attention span. That works out pretty well. Sonic Siren in the house says, eating Cool Ranch Doritos tacos. Ooh, that sounds good. Ooh. Man, now I'm hungry. Thanks for telling me that. Guy named Josh. Finally, Friday! I feel you, brother. It has been a long week and a crazy week besides. Says, ooh, sounds yummy. Yeah, I know. See, now we're all hungry.
That's not yummy.
Hope all is well, Angel. Going pretty good on off, so life is good. And we got Nexus in the house. Nexus goes, hi guys. So as you guys know, every Friday night we get together at Serenity's house, and hey, my casa is su casa. So kick your shoes off at the door, pour yourself a drink. Better yet, make it two. It could get kind of wild. Chips, snacks, munchies, vapes, whatever you got. Kick back, relax, let's have some fun. Now, as always, we start on the crypto world, just give a little bit of update what's going down. But tonight's topic is especially personal. And as you know, we go pretty much all through the rainbow spectrum of tech, from counseling to tragedies, you name it, we've pretty much covered it. Mm-hmm. So tonight's topic is stepping out of your shadow. What do I mean by that? Well, if you're still living in the shadow of who you were, if people still perceive you as who you were, or maybe you're hiding behind who you were because you're afraid that people see who you are today. Now, a lot of us go through this, and now me as a parent, I just had a very realistic experience last night of my youngest son sitting down with me and mom and saying, hey, I'm going to step out of my shadow and I need you guys to realize this. And so it was pretty amazing. But I've also had another community member tell me they had the same conversation with their father in the last few weeks. So it really kind of struck home like, oh my God, now I'm that dad who needs to realize our little boy's grown up. So,
yeah,
you know, a lot of things go down with that, and we're going to go down that rabbit hole here shortly. But, of course, first of all, we got to go through the crypto news. And Rosalind's here. Say hi, Roz. Happy birthday, Freaky Friday. We got a celebratory Taco Bell. Yeah. Hey, wait, does that mean I'm getting Taco Bell delivered, Rose? All right. And it's not even Tuesday, and I get tacos. I love it.
I need a cool taco place, because we don't have a nice taco place anywhere close by. Sad.
Really?
Yeah.
That is so sad, man.
I'd have to go into town for really good tacos. Like, South Africa's not very influenced by Mexican food, so, you know.
I can see that. You're like on the other side of the world, so that's fair.
Yeah.
And we do. Guy named Josh, he's got pizza. Damn. Why's everybody got food? I'm hungry.
Yeah, everyone's just got food. It's like 2 a.m. for me, so I'm not going to eat now. No, thank you.
Fair enough. In this house, we celebrate milestones with Taco Bell because that was our first date. Oh my God, that is awesome, bro. I love it. Yeah, those first dates, that's important. Carry those things through. So, and I think Taco Bell is awesome. You know, it's reasonably priced, good food all the way around, and something memorable. So, very cool. Even if you have to demand a franchise for Taco Bell, make it happen. Yes, get tacos.
15 years.
Better have South African food. My own. You got to get some Mexican. Exactly. Yeah. Well, what? Almost 15 years ago now? Seriously?
Yeah, I just that part. Wow.
Congratulations, guys. 15 years is a long time in any relationship. 15 years of a job, 15 years anywhere in life these days is a long time. So, okay. Apparently 13. Our bad. 13 years. That's why we reach out to the women and say, will you please correct me if I'm wrong? It's like, yes, you're wrong. Okay, fair enough. So, okay, well, let's get through the crypto news so we can get this party started. Screw that. I'm rounding up. I agree. It's too late to claim it was a typo. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah,
Busted,
way
Sonic.
too late. Way too late. After you were like, apparently it's 13, it was game over.
Yeah, exactly. Like Demolition Man. Everything is Taco Bell. I love that movie. That was a classic one. Have you seen Demolition Man, Alpha?
No.
Really? Oh, man. You got to watch that one. That one is comical. That was a great movie. Okay, let's get in down the rabbit hole here. So, of course, guys, the biggest thing, of course, this week in crypto news was the Fed approved a quarter-point interest rate cut. Now, that's why we started seeing all these green candles. Now, there was rumored this for about 2 weeks beforehand, so a lot of the early buys already came through. We did enjoy a nice green day. That was great. But, of course, now it's starting to retrace a little bit because it did a lot of the buying over the last couple of weeks. So that was big news there, and I hope everybody got to take some nice little profits out of that. If you're a trader, I'm sure you saw this coming and you had the trades in. I know one person in the room has definitely probably cashed in on that one. Cyril. Yeah. So, but now for those people who don't realize what a rate cut is or how that benefits us. So, I looked this up because I'm not a big economics person. And so I wanted to break it down for a few people out there that just might getting into crypto is like, why is that really relevant to us little guy investors? Well, when you lower interest rates, central bank cut their rates, which means borrowing becomes cheaper. Now, this means investors and institutions often shift capital from low yield savings into riskier assets like cryptocurrency. So we see an influx of buy pressure, which of course, as we know, drives the prices up. Now, that's the very basic, simple aspect, and there's a lot of different ways in which it does help. If you want to know more about how this works, man, make sure to jump to the Down Home Crypto because we have some great financial people in there that will explain it to you exactly why this happens. But I know some of you were really curious, like, why does that really matter to me? I don't own a house. I don't have property. Why is that relevant? Well, because the people who do have the big money, now they can get lower rates, which means they're willing to take a little bit more risks, and that means they're putting money into our crypto world, making our lives a little bit better. I see. And Sonic Siren says, remember, folks, interest is just the fee. Wow. I cannot read, Sonic. So you know what? I'm going to make this easier.
To access
exactly.
money.
So, Sai, I'm going to bring you up here, buddy, because I obviously cannot read your message there. So you want to explain that a little better?
Yeah. Interest is just the fee that you pay to access money. When interest rates are lower, it's more cost effective to borrow money to buy assets, right? You know, and that's why the rising interest rates caused Silicon Valley Bank to fail, right? You all remember that from a couple years ago?
Yes.
Because instead of borrowing to buy assets and expand and do the things that companies do, they started using money that they had in their accounts and withdrawing it. And because of how the banks over leverage every dollar you deposit, they couldn't make good on that. And so the bank folded.
That makes sense.
Bank friends.
Yeah. The game of economics, a lot of ways it confused me. I'm not going to lie. And that's why I have friends like Sai is like, dude, what does this even mean, man?
Well, when they bring the interest rates back down, it's more viable to borrow money to start purchasing assets, right? And so they'll start scooping up the riskier assets or ones they expect to move soon, or tech stocks usually.
A lot of tech going on right now, as we've seen. So let me ask, since you're here, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. Do you think, because I know in that news article it said that this is one and they're planning possibly two more this year. Do you think that's realistic? It's going to keep cutting rates, or what are you speculating?
I don't think they should have cut the rates at all.
Really?
Yeah. cutting the rates, the fact that they already cut it, right? Guaranteed 98%, right? Sure, there's a 2% outlier that maybe we won't. And technically, we've been in what's called a rolling recession for a while now, right? But cutting the rate like that is going to cause a recession, like one that they're forced to, address and actually call it what it is.
And nobody wants to do that because that's something I know they've been fighting most of the year. It's like, no, we're not really in a recession here. It's like, yeah, we really kind of are, guys.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Why would it do that? Because, like, technically, people would be more inclined to borrow money now, no, to get access to said money because it's lower interest. So, how would it compound in onto that? I think might be. No. I'm not seeing it. Honestly, it's a interesting dilemma.
That's a great question.
So, you're not seeing essentially like how it's going to cause a recession?
Yeah, that's because I mean, if the access to money is easier, wouldn't people be more willing to go into it? Like if I go to the bank and they tell me today, oh, you're going to have to pay like this amount extra, this is your interest rate. And then I go next week and they tell me, oh yeah, the quote we gave you last week, it just came down by like 5%. So I'm gonna be like, okay, give me the money now. Like it kind of makes that's how I'm picturing it.
Well, let me break it down for you then. Right now, the top 20% of wealth makes up more than 60% of the consumer spending. That is bad, okay? That is very, very bad. It's not how it's supposed to be. It's not how it typically is. And when interest rates come down, who borrows the money, right? It's not you. It's not Serenity. It's not Joe Schmo down the street. It's the people with assets to leverage against borrowing the money, right? So the wealthy, right? It becomes cheaper for the wealthy to borrow money and buy stuff, which does what? It causes the prices of things to go up, like your homes. So cutting the rates, the housing market was on the precipice of a collapse. There were over 3 times as many sellers as buyers as of June, right? Like, not good. Even BlackRock started offloading homes at a loss of what they paid for them because they see the crash in the housing market coming, right? And when interest rates drop, and then capital money's like, oh, let me start buying up some of those assets again that are now lower because they've started selling them at a loss, and then they start scooping it up. It makes it more expensive. Everything gets more expensive, and the majority of the people that are keeping the country actually running and operating can't afford to buy shit.
Yeah.
Nope. We can't afford to buy shit now, man.
See, when
it's
they
just gonna get
lower
worse.
Rates and everything goes up more, it's a problem.
That is a problem. It's the same. It's only the very select few people that have the money to buy these houses, so they're the only ones that have access to these assets, which means they determine the price, and they're always going to want more. At the end of the day, no one else can buy it, so it's like, oh yeah, now things are going to crash. Damn, that's interesting. That is very.
It's a vicious cycle. So yeah, although it's great on the charts, I gotta say I am enjoying the charts, but in the long run, it's gonna hurt. So. Man, I hope everybody's taking profits now when you can.
Well, I would just say, I hope y'all listened over the last 2 years when I've just been telling you to set a weekly amount aside and just put it into BTC, right? I hope you've been listening because BTC is an asset, and now you can go on Coinbase and borrow USDC with your BTC. I don't know if you know that. It's an update they just dropped.
Nice.
Yeah. So again, don't sell your Bitcoin. It is an asset. It's in ETFs. I told y'all this was going to happen when they put it in ETFs. It was going to cause the price to go up like mad because then they pegged it to the money they print, right? But it's finite. Anywho, I'm gonna step off.
Unlike the money they print. Okay. Hey, I'm glad you took the time to explain that, Si. And man, thank you so much, brother, because I don't know it near as well as I should, or probably because it never really affected me until now, or I didn't know how it affected me. And a lot of people don't. A lot of people are out there, they're here having fun, but they don't realize that although that looks great on the charts, it's going to have some detrimental long-term effect on us. So
Yeah.
this is where you guys got to pay attention. And if you missed out, Si and I did rags to riches for over a year, teaching these lessons, guiding you through that. And all those videos are still in the Down Home Crypto YouTube channel. So if this is new information to you, I urge you strongly, go back and rewatch those episodes and learn how all this played out, how this is working, so you're prepared for what's coming next.
Absolutely.
Definitely. So, okay, well, I got a few more things to crypto news, so let's get back into that real quick. So, real quick, guys, last week, 12 days ago, I released a video talking about StarPower and how the TGE event occurred and how you could claim your tokens. But at that point in time, I told you in the video, I was not selling my tokens. And I'll show you why. Because you see, StarPower tokens at that time of that video were at 3 cents. In less than 2 weeks, it has done a 4x. So I really hope you guys did your own research, decided for yourself, and maybe you held on to some, maybe you didn't. But we're at a 4x, 140% increase over the last, well, it says the month, but I know we did it at 3 cents. So might be a good time to take some profits. I can tell you personally, I did take some profits off the table because, as you know, you never go wrong taking profits. So
Yeah.
yep.
And besides,
Cash in.
I mean, 4x up. If you didn't take profits, it's like, do you actually want profit?
Exactly, yeah. Don't hold on till it goes up and then back down again. We know it's going to do that. They always do. So
Yeah.
that's one thing I did want to make you aware of because I like to let you know what I'm doing and why I'm doing it.
Cool. Cool, though. That it did a 4x. You don't see that a lot anymore. You really don't.
No, we really don't. So yeah, that's one I was excited about. So if you have your StarPower devices, you might think about that. Or maybe you're going to save for the long run. That choice is totally up to you. Don't listen to me, that guy, or that guy. Do your own research and decide what's right for you. Okay, next piece of information. Now, 4 months ago, I told you guys I was running an NE1 router, and I had a cooling fan problem that kept eating itself. They were aware of this over at the factory. They were supposed to send out replacements, but I showed you where you could get these from DigiKey to fix your fan. Well, my fan was doing great up until about 3 days ago.
Oh, no.
Then it started dying again. So I actually went out and bought 2 more fans. And I can tell you that these were $2.56, I think, on DigiKey. And let's see. Here you go. Yes. So this is a $2.95. Sorry. Directly from DigiKey. And I'll put the link in the description down below. But if your NE1 router is continuing to overheat or your fan continues to fail, man, I can tell you I bought 3 of these things this time. Because I figure about every 4 months if I have to put in a $3 fan, not a bad deal. It sucks I have to do it. I mean, we want our devices to work perfectly, but it doesn't always happen. So right here's the link to the DigiKey fan. If you want to check that out, it's a perfect fit, direct plug and play. But I got about four months out of mine. So that's totally up to you how you want to play it. Just be aware it's not a permanent fix. Okay.
That is very
next.
curious. So they
What's
have
that?
a manufacturing defect that completely just wrecks the fans over time.
Yeah, they do. They knew there was a bushing problem on the first batch, but I found these replacement ones, and they seem to be the same thing. But I mean, this fan is running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, trapped inside a little metal box. So,
Yeah.
okay.
It would fail eventually.
Yeah, and it's not like it's a big industrial fan. I mean, this thing is itty bitty, teeny tiny. I mean, yeah, give you an idea. That's how little that fan is. It's like,
Okay, yeah.
It's a dinky little fan. So, yeah, if you guys are running the same problem, that's how I'm fixing it. But definitely do your own research. If you want to reach out to the NE1 team, maybe they'll send you a replacement. I didn't want to wait. I didn't want to have my NE1 router offline for 2 or 3 weeks so I get parts. So I found my own parts, and I found a way to make it work. So if you want to watch the video on how to replace it and all that, I did break all that down in this video, and I'll put that in the link down here below for you guys. Go back, watch that video. It's pretty straightforward. Just got to be careful when you do it. Okay, next update is NodeGo. Now, as you guys know, I have the whole channel of free-to-earn opportunities. And some of those have been doing great, like Grass Network. Man, we had a great payday on them. But some of these, I warned you, may never come to fruition. Well, about 3 days ago, somebody at the Down Home Crypto Discord said, hey, NodeGo is not working anymore and their website's gone. Sure enough, I went, started digging into it, and it is. It is officially gone. Website's down. The Chrome extension does not work anymore, and their Discord is overran with people just shilling. So, I hate to say it, NodeGo AI is now officially dead. Nothing from the team, just gone. Bye-bye.
Damn. So they dipped out. They were just like, yeah,
they did.
We did what we wanted, we thought what we needed, and now we're out. Ah, damn. That's a different kind of lag right there.
It is. It's great it didn't cost anything. A little bit of time, a little bit of power running on our Chrome extension, but that's why we have multiples running. And so, hopefully one day they'll go by the wayside, but some of these should actually pay. So, let's hope so.
It is hope
and
so.
It says, with this beautiful Persian rug, completely unrelated to the conversation. I'm missing something, man. There's you guys in the chat are having a great party. I'm totally missing it.
Okay, I get it.
Okay. Waka waka. Now I get it. That was good.
Yeah, that's because
I'm like, what's going on with the Persian? Whew. Okay, I need more caffeine. Cheers. That was good. I like that. G-Steen, my man, how you doing, brother? Good to see you. Okay, last piece of crypto information, and this is kind of a big one, guys, is I don't have the thumbnail for it. Oh. So it was, 14 months ago, I believe? We'll have to double check the date. I did a video about WingBits, how you could actually take your Crank multi-mining, add a little $40 dongle, and start mining WingBits for future gains. Now, of course, that was early beta testing for WingBits, and it was running for a good 4 to 5 months before they said, okay, we've released an actual WingBits miner, a deep-in device. That means that those early beta devices will continue to still earn, but you couldn't do it anymore, couldn't add anymore with that. You actually had to buy the device. I gotta tell you, the WingBits device is by itself is $400. The one mixed with the Geo miner is $1,100. Does the dongle dangle? Yes, the dongle does dangle. And I did get my dongle in. I put a video out about that too. So I tried to get it to you guys really, really early. Well, great news now is the TGE is right around the corner. Doesn't have an official date yet, but there is some important news I need to make you aware of. First of all is the Wings tokens that we've been earning in the beta process over the last year plus will be a direct 1-to-1 ratio to the token that they're going to launch, the Wing token. Okay, so at a 1-to-1, and it will be launched on the Solana blockchain. But they did just announce that there are 2 important factors to know before the TGE goes live. So let's bring that up here. So the 2 important updates for beta rewards distribution. Now this is anything prior to TGE is considered a beta rewards. So what's going to happen is at the TGE event, you will have an immediate unlock of 5% of your Wing token to be cashed in. Okay, so only 5% of your total value that you have. Now the remaining 95% will be unlocked over the next 1 year, 365 days. Oh, wait, back up a half step. Sorry, I skipped step. 5% will be unlocked immediately, plus 20% of that 5%. Got that? I don't know.
5%, okay. But 20% of that 5%.
Yes.
What?
Yeah, keep an eye on your dog, Alpha. Bad dog. Okay, so you mute Alpha, that way you're not echoing. Okay, so out of your, and it gives an example here. So at the initial TGE, 5% will be immediately unlocked, plus a 20% bonus on that amount. Okay? The remaining 95% will be distributed over 12 months. Now, this gradual release helps to protect token value, preventing market flooding while maintaining a healthy, stable ecosystem for everyone. Now, on top of that, you will get a daily 20% bonus on top of what is released on your beta tokens. Okay, so you're getting that 95% over 1 year, and every day you're getting that payout plus 5% of that payout added to it as a bonus. That's going to happen for 365 days, the payout plus 20% of that payout. So there is an example down here, and I want to go through this because, yes, I know I'm explaining it horribly, so I do apologize for that. And there we go. So example, if you earned 10,000 tokens during the beta, which we're in right now still, day 1, mainnet, you'll release 600 tokens immediately, plus an immediate 20% bonus. So you have 500 tokens unlocked plus 100 tokens, your bonus, giving you 600 total. With me so far? Okay, Alpha's nodding. Okay. Now, over the next 365 days, the remaining 95% will unlock. So that's day 2 to 365. 9,500 tokens will be distributed over 12 months, or 26 tokens per day. Now, you will still get your 20% per day, meaning if your station's still online, you'll get your 26 tokens times 1.2 to give you your extra 20% bonus, means you'll earn 31.23 tokens over the next year. Now, if your station is not online, you will only receive your 26 tokens. You won't get that 20% boost. But keep in mind, while your station's online over that year, you're still earning day by day of those tokens. Okay, so that's just the 31.23 is tokens you're earning from your beta, not including what you're earning today. I like that. Alpha, let the dogs out. Yeah, exactly.
It's so complicated.
It's really not. When you sit down and write it out, it makes sense. They made it very wordy. And basically what they're doing, instead of dumping all the beta tokens all at once at the very beginning, because what's that do to the chart? It crashes it. We've seen that time and time again. Right, straight down. So they're going to extend it out over a year. Now, a lot of people are very disappointed. Like, oh man, I really want my big payday. But at the same time, to say, hey, we're not going to get a big payday because we want to keep their project alive. And I think they've got some great run room with that. But they're going to give you a bonus on top of that because they know it's disappointing. They realize that, hey, I know you're not happy with this, so we want to give you an extra boost. That's at 20% per day. So I like the fact that the team is stepping up for that. But now the confusion's not over. Right. But the confusion's not over, guys, because they added part 2.
Oh, no.
Part 2. Yeah, oh no, part 2. Is that now every day when you earn your tokens, you cannot immediately claim it and dump it on that day. There is a 7-day grace period or cooldown. So let's say the tokens I earned today on Friday, I cannot actually claim and sell until 7 days later, next Friday. That just gives a little bit of breather to help it run out a little bit longer. That make sense?
That makes sense.
Okay.
That's a good strategy too.
Right. A lot of this is just about getting those people who are going to do a quick dump them to try to give longevity. Because as we know, WingBits has made a lot of great partners. They've been really working over the last year. And I've done several videos about this and shared a lot of this information. So it's one of those to keep an eye on. Make sure you understand it. And see, and Sonic Siren says, the more complex the ecosystem is, the more they are obfuscating the way they are slowly robbing you. Yeah, 9 times out of 10. Not saying that's the case here. That's a very good point, Sonic Siren, and you are absolutely right. I've been in projects where literally I had to read the white paper 8 times and I still didn't understand. It's like, oh my God, there's a college course in confusion. Yeah. But once I realized and started looking, I realized that all they're doing is making ways where they get to hold my money longer to go make money on it or how to steal more of it. So that's very, very relevant. So it does seem fairly confusing, but these are fairly straightforward. But I'd love to get your opinion. So Sonic, I know you're up here with me, man. So as somebody who has overseen many different crypto projects and many different scams or slow rugs as we've seen, how do you feel about these rules that they've just introduced? I'm not sure he's here or that's a no comment.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
What do you think, Alpha?
You're all muted, so there's that. I think there's a lot of Okay, there we
go. So essentially what happened was my wife informed me that the kiddo asked if I could turn on the Wi-Fi for them so that they could play a game with their friend. And apparently, when I do that, it resets all of the networks. So it briefly reset my internet right as I heard you calling on me for something.
Oh, that's terrible.
You're muted,
Serenity.
That is
terrible. Yeah.
I know better than that. So hit the button. Control D. It doesn't work. It makes a bookmark. I tried. So, I was asking, since you have been, one of the masterminds behind many different crypto projects. You've done the vetting process. You've got KYC consulting. So you've seen a lot of the bad players, you've seen a lot of the good players. Is there anything on these rules that really stand out to you that's like, man, that looks shady? Or do you want to give your opinion or not? Totally up to you if you'd like to give some insight on what you think about these rules and are they really necessary?
You'd have to shoot them over to me. To be honest, I kind of glaze out when you're talking about that type of stuff because I'm not in those projects. But if you want me to take a look at it, I'm happy to do so, and I can shoot you my opinion in DMs. And if you want to post it, go for it.
Absolutely. No, I appreciate that because, like I always tell everybody, don't listen to me or anybody else. Do your own research, but if we can try to get you some insights, we'll happily do it. So
yeah,
I will definitely
I'm not gonna throw an opinion out when I don't feel appropriately educated on exactly what the rules are. And so yeah.
Absolutely. Hey, I respect that. And, that kind of goes into tonight's topic. And so that's a good transition there. Unless, Alpha, there's something you want to add to this mess.
No, I was just going to say, it's always best to go for the Keith's way of doing things. Keep it simple, stupid. But yeah, I suppose I can see a lot of the merit in what they're doing and the way that they plan to do it. But I can also see a lot of ways where it sounds good now, but you really have to see how it looks in practice. And I think that's kind of what we have to wait and see. We have to see how does it actually work in practice. I mean, technically, we could then make an example with Helium. Helium, you technically don't get all your tokens immediately, yet Helium's chart isn't exactly the best looking thing on the planet. So it's like, there is that way. It's like, it sounds good, but how does it actually look? So we have to wait and see. That's all we can do.
Absolutely. Sounds good. And yeah, I will definitely shoot that over to you, Si. And you know what? I respect the fact that you made that uncomfortable call. It's like, no, I'm not going to do it. And that kind of goes into tonight's topic because I had one of those uncomfortable conversations last night with my son. And it's one of those, the world kind of requires us to step up or to answer something or to perform a certain way. And sometimes maybe what we're expecting people or ourselves to perform at is not who we really are. Maybe we've grown out of that. Maybe things have changed, or maybe we just don't want to be put on the spot. All of those are very uncomfortable positions. So tonight we're going to go down the rabbit hole of a little bit more uncomfortability, because I think this is really important to all of us, which is we oftentimes stand in the shadow of who we once were, or maybe how we're perceived. Maybe people expect us to be like we were when we were 16, or maybe they expect us to be what we were yesterday. But it's always that stepping out of the shadow that is a very uncomfortable topic. So I figure we'll dive down the rabbit hole of that one today. But of course, before we do that, we got to get the rest of the gang up here and get this party started because we are officially 2 years old. So, of course, it's not a party without some beautiful ladies who happen to be hiding today. Wild Angel, why are you hiding, girl?
I'm hiding because I got my flu shot and a pneumonia shot, and I feel like I have been hit by a truck. And I know I look like that. So I am going to hide behind my adorable dreaming dragon tonight. You're muted, Serenity.
I just saw that. Yeah. It looks kind of like you were sleeping. I love it. Yep. There's the sound effects. Every time I do something stupid. Yep. Drum roll, please.
I hope you feel better soon, Wild Angel.
Sorry. Say that again, Cyril.
I said, I hope you feel better soon.
I will. It's just that first go immune reaction. So, like, my body hurts. The brain is good. The body's like, yeah, no.
Why'd you do this to me?
Yeah, that's exactly what it's saying. I tried to go to work this morning, came home 2 hours later, and curled up and fell asleep for 2.5 hours.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And
but other than
Austin
that,
Clark. Awesome.
Hey, Austin.
Want to say hi, Austin? Good to see you, brother. You're welcome to join the party, my man. Always got room for family. So,
hey, Austin, I got something I need to talk to you about.
Uh-oh. Now you're in trouble.
Oh, no.
See? But, of course, it's not a party without the rest of the gang here, so let's get him on up here.
Bring
we
him
got
up.
Mr. Nexus joining us. How you doing, my man?
Hanging in there, counting names, and taking notes as per usual. I hope everybody is well, and I hope that Wild Angel feels better soon.
give me a day or two and I will be right as rain.
You got it, boss.
Of course.
Thank
Yeah, it's
you.
been a crazy week. Crazy week.
Uh-oh. Good or bad or indifferent?
Well, I'm preparing to give a talk very soon about meme coin markets. And in so preparing, I've had to sort of study meme coin markets. And as usual, when we all consider and think of meme coin markets as the commercial application of crypto tech to virality, in essence, then you can really kind of get a sense of where I'm going to go with this talk and how we discuss these financial instruments, which are fairly novel in historical terms. And things are going to get strange and stranger, but in the aftermath of the very public and violent murder of a conservative activist in the past week, I checked and there were no less than 15,000 meme coins named, inspired, or centered around an act of horrific violence.
Yep. Doesn't surprise me. Been watching memes for quite some time. We even had a show called Meme Coin Madness. I know several of our people here participated and just had fun. And they were horrible. Every time something happened in the news, there was always just a slew of meme coins come out. And the more horrific or big the headline was, the more meme coins there were. It's crazy. It's absolutely insane. So
Yeah.
I can only imagine what that talk's gonna be like. Nexus, I'm gonna have to get a recording of that or go back and rewatch it. 'Cause that should be a fun one.
Oh yeah, I'll see about getting that done for you.
Absolutely, love to have it. Of course, we've got a blank spot on the stage, and of course, we got Mr. CK, my man. How you doing, brother?
Yo, what's up, everyone? How's everyone doing?
CK.
Hello, CK.
Okay, how's it going?
Living the dream.
Good. Yeah, living the dream.
wait.
Living the dream.
Wait.
How are you? Wow, I'm looking good then. With what? You had like a stomach sickness, right? Well,
No, I got a flu shot,
oh, okay,
and
yeah,
so I'm having an immune response.
okay, yeah. I'm not gonna go down
So-
the vaccine road, but I hope you feel good and better.
I appreciate that, CK. Thank you.
but,
It would actually be much,
God.
much worse if I actually got the flu or pneumonia. So it could be horrendous. So
Yeah.
we just put up with this for a couple days every year.
That's not bad. But yeah, no, I'm doing well. What was funny was on the meme coin thing you guys were talking about. The
Right.
quickest place to get news, I swear, is meme coins.
The
The
trenches.
second like someone gets something happens in the political environment, there's a meme coin on it. There are 50 of them, honestly. You get your news quickest on Pump Fun than you do on Twitter.
Yeah.
It's pretty
Yeah.
It's kind of sad, isn't it? Watch the news.
That.
Watch meme coins for the news. Like, what's really going on?
Just check Pump Fun and you'll know.
yeah.
Right.
That's a
Apparently
phrase
so.
I never thought I would ever say, but yay.
It's
Yay
kind of
for
sad. We're watching
crypto.
meme coins for our news. Yeah, it's horrific. Now, there was one thing this week that we did do that was very unique, and I hope if you guys remember for last Friday, I was telling you we were going to get up early Saturday morning and go out and build beds. Well, we actually did that. So we actually went and helped Sleep in Heavily Peace, and we got to build bunk beds for these children who have no beds. So here's kind of the event at our local home center. As you can see right there, there's Wild Angel standing right there on the side, waiting to drill more holes. She was a trooper. We were racing. We made everybody else look horrible. We actually got replaced because we were too fast. So you worked yourself out of jobs, man. So they kicked us out. They made us go do other stuff. But yes, Wild Angel actually sitting there working away.
While the Angel's putting in the work, putting in the hours.
And that's why we're wearing the Sleeping Heavily Peace shirt today. Got the logo and supposed to go set them up.
Oh.
And we
Oh,
have
Very
we
nice.
we got 2 delivery dates through my manager at Lowe's, and I told them sign us up for one or both. We have a truck, we can deliver, I think it's deliver and set up, all that fun stuff. And so, yeah, we've got, I think Boise alone has about 300 bed requests out there.
Whoa.
And this is a national program. They're all over the place. So if you guys know of anybody who needs them, any kids that need beds, have them check locally and see if they have a chapter in their area.
That's
Absolutely.
awesome.
And I went ahead and put a link in the chat here, guys. If you want to learn more about it, this is their website, and they do have local chapters, things like that. So, as we always love to promote here on Down Home Crypto, is making a difference in the world. Whether that's sharing little ducks from Project Duck Depression, whether that's donating to a local charity, or going out and actually donating your time. Do something to make this world a better place. Because Lord knows, especially in the chaos right now, we need all the goodness in this world we can get. And look at that. We got BTK in the house. BTK, my man.
Hello,
Good to
BTK.
see you, brother.
We were talking about stacking Bitcoin earlier. Unfortunately, you weren't here at that time.
But once again, one of those free to earn opportunities, like one of them died. Well, the good one that was introduced was from BTK. That was Grass Network. So, and I always try to give you kudos on that because that has been one of the best ones so far. But let's shift gears now because we really need to talk about that standing out of the shadows. Because right now, so many of us, we go day by day and we run on autopilot. It's like, oh, well, I just do the same as I did yesterday. But last night, my youngest son sat down with me and Mom and he said, I need to talk to you guys because when we were going through recovery and all that, I tried to stand up and be the hero of the family. I tried to really hold things together. After that, you got clean everything else, I was able to slack and I was able to kind of go cruise control, finish school up and stuff. I said, but now it's time for me to stand up and be my own man. So I'm not going to live my life the way you think I should, or maybe what you would expect, but I'm going to live it to the fullest of my choice. And I got to say, stepping up and having that conversation with your father, which he did to me, takes true courage. And I was truly impressed by that. And it really got me thinking, how many of us are living our lives today based on who we were yesterday? Or are we striving to be better for tomorrow? What do you guys think?
Well, I think that everyone tends to carry a version of you with them that they have the most power over, right? So it's natural for parents to always think of their kid as their little kid, right? Who they were as a kid when you were more hands-on with them, right? And you're going to carry that version of them for forever unless you evaluate who they are now, right? And we do that to everybody in our lives. And everybody does that to us. Everyone has a different version of you. The only person who really knows who you is you, right? That's why I'm always saying, striving for understanding, but nobody will ever truly understand. Otherwise, they would be you. They would have had to live your life. Exactly.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, to add on to that, which is tough, but I'm actually gonna I refer to the fourth book of Maccabees on the subject about stoicism and kind of just like staying in your lane. Honestly, like don't mess with other people's stuff. Just have blinders on, stay in your lane, do your stuff, and just staying present and positive. I don't know.
It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy because about 10 years ago, I was just existing. I wasn't living. And thanks to that crazy bald man up there, I started living life and developing skills. 10 years ago, I would never have gone back to school. I thought learning was beyond me. And
Never.
well, there's actually history there, and there is actually a medical reason why I thought learning was beyond me. But I have proven that is different now. When I graduated with honors for my associate's degree, I was like, hey, cool, I can do
Nice.
this. And now I'm back in school working on my bachelor's degree with the full intent of graduating with honors again. So, yeah, stepping out of the shadow. And Serenity has a very strong personality. And it is very easy to get in his shadow and not step up and be my own person. And I did that for a while. And now it's like, no, I'm not Serenity's wife. I'm Wild Angel. I am me. And so it has been a challenge for me to step up and move out of a shadow, because I've always been in somebody's shadow. But now I'm being me.
For a minute there, I thought you were making a fat joke, like I'm making a big shadow or something. It's like, I'm getting fluffy, I know, it's sitting here, but that's okay. It's good quality time. But no, and you're absolutely right. And Wild Angel, that brings about a great topic. And this is where I really want to shift this to, is the trials and tribulations of stepping out of a shadow, whether it's somebody else's or even your own history. How did you deal with people who said, well, you've got a medical condition, you've got this, so you can't do this, so you can't do this because you never have before. So how did you fight that internal struggle where people are essentially holding you back, saying you never did before, so how are you going to possibly succeed now, and not having faith in you? How did you deal with it?
Part of that is they made the mistake of telling me I couldn't. When I finally stopped internalizing that issue, because when you have people tell you can't and you're not capable for so long, it is very easy to believe that. So until you have somebody that actually steps up and says, wait, what's going on? And you're full of it, you're better than this, which that crazy bald guy up there did. He challenged me to break out of that thinking. Sometimes it takes somebody else challenging that thought process. Other times, you just get sick of it. Get sick of being told no, being sick of feeling like you're not worth it, and wanting to develop that self-esteem and self-confidence. It takes that, or something leads you to a challenge of that belief.
Gotcha, okay.
The only person coming to save you is the version of you that's sick of your shit.
Right. On
like
the
that.
counter at Lowe's, there is, somebody wrote a note that says, somewhere out there, there is a past version of you that is very proud of the you have become.
I got one of those. I could tell a story about that if you guys wanted.
Absolutely, Nexus.
Go for it, man.
Okay. All right, gang. So back in about 2010, 2011, I was studying in computer science to try to get a computer science major at a small liberal arts college. And the guy in charge of my CS department, he was real hard ass, to put it politely. He was very specific about how he wanted things done, and if you did it any other way to achieve the objective, of which, computer science is assembling code that achieves an objective, then you weren't given bonus points for being creative or working outside the box. You were actually penalized. I got a lot of C's and D's in his courses because I would find weird roundabout ways to achieve the code objective that he would say to me I was cheating. And I would be like, what do you mean? I wrote this code. It compiles. It's does the objective. It sorts the goods. It does the data compilation. It does all of this stuff. What's the problem? And I didn't really get it until right around finals time for this teacher's toughest course. My grandfather died. And I needed to take a week off at finals time, right at the worst possible time. But I couldn't. My grandpa's not going to die again in 2 weeks. Like, I got to go now. Like, my family is assembling now. And I told him that. And I asked him for just 3 more days to give me a chance to get the final project in. And I was going to spend like 48 straight hours working and probably sleep for a day. I was going to grind to achieve this objective in time to get my grade and finish this course. The teacher looked me dead in the eyes over his glasses and said, "Absolutely not. You are not getting time off. You are not getting a week. You can't have a week. You are either going to be in my class to turn in that program, or you're getting a 0 for the entire semester." So basically, he hinged my entire course grade on one program, one assignment. And he hinged it so hard that he would have had the opportunity to flunk me if I had given it to him. I was so steaming mad. I stood up in the chair. I stuck my finger in his face and said, "My grandfather died. You have to let me go and give me a little accommodation so I can finish this project." And he looked at me and he said, "With that attitude, you are never going to work in technology, and I will make sure of it." And I said, "Well, then fine. I wouldn't code for you if you were dying and needed electric water. I am out of here." And I went across the way to the sociology department and said, "Guys, the modern technologists think I'm started to study technology. Would y'all mind allowing me to study ancient technology with you?" And they said, "You know what? Absolutely. We'd love to have you here. We'd love it if you hung out with us and studied 1800 Civil War artifacts and Native American civilizations and relics from the Stone Age. Like, we'd love it." So I went and I studied arrowheads for 2 years instead of code. But I came out the other side understanding a whole lot about how a civilization itself is forged. And after that, a couple of weird odd jobs later, I found myself working in technology startups anyway. And then I got into crypto. And now I study the intersection of finance and human behavior on the internet.
Interesting. So was that horrible event, could that have paved the way for an even brighter future than maybe you would have enjoyed?
It absolutely did. And there's a lot of people in our world, in the world of software design, who think that my basket weaving, quote unquote, experience is kind of useless. And then my response to that is, well, how do you weave a basket that fits 10 to 100,000 people may have?
It's a good question. Interesting.
Because that is what the Incans and the Olmec and the Maya were doing about 5,000 years before the Sumerians invented glue.
There you go. So the invention before the invention, and it's those kind of situations we have to deal with in life where occasionally we have to go back to those people, whether it be a boss, it be at some point in time it was a coworker and had a breaking up with him, and then all of a sudden one got a supervisor. Now you have to deal with that of a situation in the past. Now, I know me personally, like Wild Angel was talking, I do cast a big shadow, and I was a whole lot worse before going through recovery and going through addiction, all that. I was very much Nexus like your instructor was. Like, there is my way or the highway, and I don't care if you burn, it doesn't matter, the job gets done. I was very much that way because that's the way I was raised. Very much that 1950s farmer from my single mom who taught me that way. And I carried that over. And I've got to tell you, it was one of the hardest things I've ever done is had to go back to these people and say, "Man, I am sorry. I was a dick. I totally screwed this up, and I dealt with it all wrong." And so, being the person who was the bad person, having to go back and correct that is extremely humbling. But I'm curious, Alpha, have you been in a situation where you've had to go back, where you've had to stand up to somebody like that and stand your ground, or go back and apologize for standing your ground when maybe you shouldn't have? You know, have you had those kind of situations? How did you deal with it?
Yeah, I've definitely had a little bit of both. I'm
think we all
fairly
have.
hard-headed after all. Fairly stubborn, and it's always a weird situation because like depending on which one it is, like where you have to, where it's like it's a right that you should be standing up for yourself. It's like, yeah, cool, okay, I did that. That made sense. I got out of that properly. And then the other one where it's like, okay, maybe I should not have been so hard-headed. Those are usually the harder ones because you have to admit to yourself, like, I kind of went off on the wrong direction of that conversation. So maybe I should have been like, yeah, no, maybe not. And then you have to go back and be like, I'm sorry. And that's a hard thing to do. That's very hard when you're stubborn. That's a very hard thing to do. So usually those things, it takes a while. I have to think about it. I'm like, oh goodness, how am I gonna do this? How do you do this? How do you say sorry? How do you go ahead and tell someone, look, I was in the wrong and I probably should not have been so hard-headed. I should have taken a little bit of time to listen to what you were saying. But I was very stubborn at the time, so I'm sorry. I'll do better next time. But I think that's usually how I take it. I will say, and then I'll say, look, I might have been a little bit stubborn at that time, but I will try to be a little more accommodating and understand things a little more before speaking, I guess you could say. As my linguistics professor, I think she's a professor at this point, would say, take a second to breathe. So, learning to do that, taking a second to breathe. And a second isn't necessarily a second. It can be 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 2 minutes, an hour, 10 days. It's a time, it's a window for your brain to catch up to everything and just be like, okay, yeah, now I know what to say. But I think if we go back to like the topic on, am I still living in the shadow of who I was? No, definitely not. I've changed a lot from what I was even just 2 years ago. I was a lot more, let's just say I was different. I was very different. Definitely a lot more arrogant, you could say. Yeah.
Really? You?
And I've changed a lot from that. I've learned to be a lot more calm. I've learned to be a lot more understanding and actually accept that other people can have very intellectual points to things too, which is not always possible. You hear someone talking, you're like, oh my goodness, that does not sound right. But then you sit on it, you think about it, and you're like, it's a perception that I just didn't consider. And that was on me. My brain should be a little more open to things. And I've learned to do that, which is cool. Very cool. You learn a lot of things that way.
Absolutely. And Sonic Siren, so Cyril, I just pulled your comment out up here, but you want to widen up on that and build off alphas there?
Well, I mean, he said it just fine, right? Like when he was saying, how do I go to someone and say, I'm essentially, I'm sorry for who I was and how I behaved when I knew less, right? Because ultimately the only people we should ever be comparing ourselves to is who we were every day prior, right? That's it.
Yeah.
And we should always be trying to improve upon that and grow.
Things that could be a better version of yourself every day, a better version of your of the version of you that was yesterday. Just do that. Just incrementally be better every day.
Right. Now, of course, CK, man, you're down there being quiet, so I'm going to pick on you, brother. I know your life has gone under some drastic changes over the last several months, and I'm sure you've probably run into situations like this. So how difficult did you find it to either step out of the shadow or stand up and whether take accountability and make amends or set things right? what did you find the strength to do that with?
Oh, I've given him all the backup I could give him in that quest too, man. He's been through some crazy shit.
Listen, big shout out to the whole fam here, especially Cyril, Nexus, Alpha, Serenity. While everyone's listening, for everyone's supportive and everything. But I'm not gonna go into too much detail, but it helps having gone through tough times in the past, failed businesses, whatever, relationships and stuff like that. And something I've learned over the course of my life would be everything's kind of cyclical. And if you don't break the cycle, it's just going to happen again and again and again. You could ask my 10 ex-girlfriends why it didn't work out. It's just going to happen again and again and again. And that's just that's a light reference, right? But, this time around, I just took a step back. I took accountability for my mistakes in the situation, even if whoever's at fault or is at fault, or whoever's guilty or whatever, whoever's a victim or whatever the situation may be, at some point, there is a piece of it that you could have done better, and you learn from it. Fucking dust off your knees and stand up, and you stand strong, keep your chin up, and you just keep going, because like Cyril said, if you're crying in a corner, no one's going to come get you besides yourself. And you'll see that every single time the cycle goes from having a ton of money to having no money to having, you know what I mean? Your orbit shows people's true colors, and that's really it. And just keep it positive headed, That's what I would say.
When
Absolutely.
someone tells you who they are and shows you who they are, believe them.
Very, very good quote there is, when someone paints you a picture, don't let them paint you another picture, which is exactly what Cyril just said.
Exactly. And, CK, I've got a history similar in a way of yours. I mean, started a vape company, ended up the #1 in the state, got rich, it was great, and then everything crashed and burned. I burned to the ground, basically. I take total accountability. Did everything wrong I possibly could. And then I realized exactly who my friends were. The ones that were still standing when all the dust settled, who was really there. It's like, now I know. Of course, now picked myself up, went through recovery, went through all that. And one of the biggest turning points I know in my life was hitting that rock bottom. Now, a lot of people are afraid of that. They're afraid of failure. They're like, no, I'll just do whatever I have to, so I don't have to admit I failed. But I got to tell you, if you're watching this and you're worried about failing, I can tell you the greatest strength and adventure I've ever enjoyed in my life is from failing. Absolutely. I'm talking ball of flames, crater in the ground is what I left. It was horrible. From top of the world to drug addict and homeless. Take your pick. I mean, that's my journey. And I got to say, that has been the most life-changing journey I've ever lived. And I'm thankful for it. I know it sounds screwed up. It is. But had I not gone through that, I would not have the relationship I do with my children, with my wife, with my true friends. I would not be the person I am today had I not been in that ball of flames. So, believe it or not, there's goodness in failure.
Just to add to that too, I feel like the deepest people, the people I connect with especially, have been through dark times, because you really need to experience it to learn them. Most people here probably have their own, but have their own. Everyone has their own story. But it really, I went from like crazy New York City party and club life to basement parents' house living, pretty rapidly, I would say. It was an adjustment, and I am happier now than I ever have been in my life. I'll tell you that much, for sure.
I'm with you there.
I gotta say that until I went through recovery, I did not understand the issues with my prior thinking. I thought everything was hunky-dory and that what everybody else was telling me was right. And I had no idea about my own accountability in everything. And so between recovery and classes I'm taking, I'm learning more every day. And like Cyril said, my perspectives are changing on a daily basis. I apologize for the stuff I did before I was where I am now.
And that's a big thing is, a lot of people like to compare trauma. They like to say, well, mine's worse than yours, so I should get more empathy or sympathy, or you feel. It's like, no, everybody's trauma is different. I mean,
It's
one
all
person's
relative.
trauma could be, yeah, exactly, Sai. It is, and that's one thing that people forget. My trauma might be somebody else's Tuesday afternoon, or vice versa. Doesn't make it better or worse or anything else. Nobody can tell you what your trauma is or if it's relevant or not. Bullshit. Total bullshit. Your trauma is relevant to you, and that's all that matters. And so don't let anybody tell you otherwise. And now, Sai, I know you and we've talked a lot about our traumas. We've shared a lot of stories, things like that. What have you found in sharing your trauma with people, how they react? Do you find that some judge and some don't? And how does that paint the light towards them about whether you connect or don't connect with them?
Well, I've certainly learned to, if I'm going to share, do in doses, right? Because if you dump your entire grief case in one go, nobody really knows how to react, right? So keep it relative, but it's a case of, it does make it a little easier if you are able to talk about it, or share it. It helps you process it, because retelling it and actually like thinking about it again from a new perspective that you have when you're older, you can reframe a lot of things that occurred, right? And you can realize, hey, maybe that wasn't really my fault, or I didn't deserve that, that sort of thing. Nobody deserved that, right? And you can learn to kind of put it down, right? Because it gets heavy if you just keep carrying it, and it's going to keep causing the same decisions that keep you stuck in those same cycle loops of, you have a lot of money, little money, a lot of money, little money, right? That CK was talking about earlier. But those are decisions that you keep making subconsciously because you haven't put down the shame that you're carrying. Right? You can't move forward until you're able to, share it, reframe it, get a different perspective now that you're older.
Exactly. And, it's great that you mentioned shame there, Sai, because I actually had to apologize to Hope Giver, Mom, yesterday. I'll tell this really short, but she has constantly clicking on links or downloading apps on her phone and her computer, and it's infected every time I turn around. She's getting a new debit card like every other week. I mean, literally, it's always hacked. And I lost my shit yesterday. I totally did. I blew up at her. Told her I am just flat pissed. This is stupid. You're gonna lose your house, your car, your Percy, your retirement, everything, if you keep doing this. And I had to come home and cool off. So, by the way, if you are wound up, I recommend step away, analyze, and then come back. Because I went back to her and I said, Mom, I have to apologize for getting so irate with you. Because I realize that anger is a secondary emotion. The first is fear. I'm terrified. One of these is absolutely going to ruin your life. And the only way I know to express it is anger. I'm so frustrated, so terrified that it comes out as anger. And anger is a horrible thing to project because there's no way to define it. Just, are you angry at them? They feel bad. So I had to go back, eat my words, and tell her that, hey, it's because I'm truly, honestly terrified of what your future might hold if this continues. And I gotta tell you guys, like you said, Sai, I felt shame for actually blowing up at my mother. And I had to apologize for that. And that is a hard thing to step behind. That's a shadow of shame, if you will. And I'm sure that we've all had to go back and, eat our own words or duck our heads like, man, I am so sorry. So I'm kind of curious. Me personally, I just kind of buck up. It's like, okay, man, I fucked up. My bad. How do you guys deal with that? When you have to go out and, eat your words or, duck your head and beg for forgiveness, how do you guys muster up the strength to do that?
I just kind of picture if I was in their shoes, what would I want, how would I appreciate it, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
When someone comes to you and apologizes for something that they did, even if you had already kind of let it go, right? It still makes you feel like they really appreciate, right? They were able to understand how they impacted you, right? So if anything, I just kind of look to that. I look to the fact that I know that when someone apologizes to me for something, it makes me feel appreciated and understood. So I want them to feel that too, right? And if I truly understand, their perspective and how I harmed or hurt them, then I absolutely should apologize for it, right?
Absolutely. And so, good.
Oh, I was just gonna add, my thing on this is I 100% go back, apologize, acknowledge like what I've done wrong or whatever it is, and say what needs to be said, right? But I'm on the side of actions mean more than words, so I'm going to apologize once, and my actions will show it going forward. But I'm not going to sit there and beg for forgiveness either. At the same time, it's the way I kind of see it. Like, the words will be said, the actions will show it, and that's it. I'll leave it at that.
Ooh, actions that follow, very powerful.
In recovery, we call that a living amend, where your future actions act to fix what you've done in the past. Maybe you have made an apology, but you're going to show them you're not going to keep repeating the mistake. And I think
I was going to, sorry to cut you off, circles back to the cycles I referenced earlier. Go ahead.
Right. I know with my kids, with our kids, I can't, in my brain, I can't apologize enough for the damage I created during addiction. However, I can live every single day from here on out in a way that supports them and shows them that I am better than I was. And that's how I handle when I screw things up. And sometimes it can take me a while before I can wrap my brain around, making that fifth step conversation and saying I'm sorry. I mean, it can take a long time. It's a very difficult thing to do, but it's so freeing and liberating when you do that. It frees up your soul to become better.
Absolutely. And so, Nexus, I'm kind of curious. Now, you are a very, I would say, a type A personality, a very, very controlling kind of individual in conversation, in attitude and persona. So you cast a fairly decent shadow, very much like people say I do. When somebody does come up to apologize for you, for whatever it was, how do you react?
For me or to me?
To you. Sorry, to you. My bad. Oh. So I find personally that it's almost uncomfortable at times, and I don't know what to say. So I'm kind of curious, if somebody comes up, apologizes, tries to say something right, do you find it very easy to accept that apology, or is it kind of awkward for you, or is that just me?
Honestly, it depends on the context. So
really?
In my life, I've had a lot of instances where, for example, when I was in college, I was well known by the other kids on the campus in my early 20s, but I've always been really bad with names. Like, I've never been good with persons' names, attaching that to the face. And honestly, things would happen where people would just walk up to me and be like, "Hey man, listen, I'm sorry I said all that terrible stuff that I said about you, and I didn't realize what you were really about until I talked to a bunch of your buddies that got to know you." And I'm literally looking at them like, "I'm sorry, who are you? What are you apologizing to me for? I'm confused." And it's so I've had that happen. But I've also had it happen where somebody came up to me years after the fact and reminded me of this one time when they did something that wronged me specifically. And I do know it. I was aware of it. I remember it happening. But I don't keep grudges like that. And that's something that I had to learn. That was something I had to grow into, because I come from a set of relatives who have like memory beyond time. Like they'll remember this one time where you misbehaved when you were 5 years old at this one event or this wedding or something. And I'm just like, whoa. A lot of people think I have a great memory because like I can talk about ancient civilizations and articulate technology advancing into the modern age, but stuff like that to me is like, whoa, we've reached into a dramatic minutia that's beyond my ability to remember like certain little events. And when they come up to me, when that happens, I'm like, oh, dude, no, it's cool. I appreciate you saying it, but that was ages ago. And that's usually like how that goes when it happens. Of course, there are other times where people are like, I am explicitly trying to hurt and wrong you, damage your reputation, and ruin you financially in some capacity. And then I smack back, and then they apologize, and they back the heck off. That is a very different situation. You see, that in that situation, I have to actually be a little cold, little defensive. Like, because I have to be skeptical of certain people who are willing to like hurt me or hurt others that I'm close to try to achieve some kind of goal. The example that I'd have of that would be this one time somebody was trying to copy my entire Discord server, like down to the channel, like they duplicated it exactly. But of course, you can't replace me. And he stole a bunch of artwork from our staff. Like from the people in our server who were making artwork. He just stole it, photoshopped it, and tried to call it his. Yeah, no, we caught him doing that like immediately. And I told him, I was like, you're going to apologize to the artist whose work you stole, and then I'm expecting you to pay them for your use of their artwork. Because that's what I did. I paid them to use this artwork, so you're going to pay them. And if you don't, then I'm going to blacklist your entire server and everybody in it. And I'm not going to hold back. And because this guy was a thief, he was stealing from people. And at that point, he was like, whoa, okay, I don't want, I would very much like to keep being around. So I'm going to give the artist a small amount of currency, and we're going to call it a day. And I said, that's great. And it's absolutely perfect.
Nice.
And there was nothing else that came from that.
Okay, so different situations require different accepting tactics. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. So, Alpha, you always say that you're a confrontational person. So, of course, you've probably been in both sides of the situation where you've had to apologize or apologizing or stepping out of your own shadow and apologize yourself. So, of course, that's one that we haven't really touched on much as of yet, but we really need to, because that's one of the critical things is, what is it, how do you forgive yourself when you were the one who did the wrong? How do you deal with that? Especially being a excitable individual as you are. Yeah, let's put it that way. That sounded good.
That's a good term. That's a good term. I think that's gotten a lot easier. I tend to replay because my brain latches onto certain things very randomly. So I can replay a whole day repeatedly over and over and over in my brain, and it just wouldn't stop because it's just hyperfixate for some reason. Just it just happens. Casual ADHD things. Anyway, so I've learned through, again, that linguistics professor of mine. She always says, and I've had a lot of conversations with her, she always says that you need to forgive yourself. You need to be able to forgive yourself 1 time, 2 times, 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times. And you need to really be able to ingrain that into yourself, that you're going to mess up. You're going to do something that you're not going to agree with the next day or a week later or a year later. And you need to be able to tell yourself that, look, that wasn't cool. That wasn't a good thing for you to do. But you know better now. So don't do that again. And you need to kind of accept that, okay, I've done that thing at that time. And now I know a little better, so I'm going to forgive myself from that. I'm going to accept that there are things that I've done that I should not have, and that's fine. Maybe technically not fine, but you kind of have to be like, I forgive you. That you being yourself, you have to kind of look at yourself in the mirror and be like, I know what your brain was like at that time. I understand what you were thinking. I understand how you're feeling. But you kind of also need to understand that certain things shouldn't be said, certain emotions should be, in a sense, handled differently and move on from that. You need to kind of be a different person, really. It's interesting. It's interesting how forgiving yourself changes you.
And it's not easy to do.
Just I want to piggyback on Alva quick, 2 sentences. Mindfulness meditation. There's a Netflix documentary. I watched it when I was 26. That's when I started mindfulness meditation. That was about, I'm going to give up my elder age now, like 7 years ago or 8 years ago. I probably have like 300 plus days meditating, so I do it every night,
Wow.
obviously. But that turned my life around from the stuff I was involved in. Drug addiction, partying too much, you know, all the sins that you can think of, let's say.
Been there, done that.
Yes, she's also very much encouraged that, because she says that, like, you can't forgive yourself if you don't know what you did wrong yourself. If you don't know what you did or how you went wrong, how are you going to forgive it? How are you going to own up to your mistakes, even if it's to yourself? Kind of need to know what happened. So mindfulness meditations are honestly the best thing. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
There's applications of it that people don't even know about. Like, my favorite is with ego handling. Like, when someone walks in a room with a giant ego, it teaches you how to, like, just let them fill the space, and you don't have to argue with them. You just, you just be. It's just a cloud passing by, and you're on the side of the road. It's as simple as that.
Yeah,
That's a hard one to do.
is.
To not react. Ooh.
But that's why you have to be mindful.
That's one of the ones that took a couple years. That took some time, but yeah.
Okay, I got a
absolutely.
question for everybody. So, recently I had a situation at my second job, and I had to report somebody for some very offensive behavior.
Mhm.
And I feel guilty. He was the one that was offensive. I feel guilty because I said something. And now I've had to work with him a couple of times, and it's extremely uncomfortable and hostile from his side. I mean, I'm like, hey, how's it going? Trying to be nice and everything. Kind of okay, it's over, it's done, let's just move on. But I feel guilty because now he's on, kind of that last straw at work, and I don't know how to handle that.
By first realizing it's, again, not your fault, right? And there's a huge problem with the bystander syndrome, right? Where people watching something happen will assume that somebody else will take care of it because there's other people there, and ultimately nothing happens, right? So it's important to speak up when we see wrong, or and make sure that the appropriate corrective action is taking place, right? Even if it's not, it's probably going to be someone else's job to do the corrective action. It's not the whole, snitches get stitches, your tattletale, blah, 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 right? It's an aspect of, it is inappropriate behavior, right? It is not behavior that is acceptable in polite society. It is behavior that, when allowed to fester and grow, becomes accepted, right? And a problem.
Yeah, because other people copy it. They see the freedoms being I mean, there's a counter argument here, not to your point in this topic, but that's kind of how, like, the 9-to-5 work culture is. Like, if someone's like takes too long of lunches, then other people start to take too long on lunches. They slap that first person and order real quick. Yes, it sets precedent. That's what I'm saying.
And I work in a place, my second job has a very inclusive culture. And this person made some very exclusionary statements. And it was directly to me. There was nobody else involved. And so he knows that I'm the one that said something. And so it's borderline retaliatory in his behavior. I was told if he actually is rude, that I need to say something because that won't be allowed. But he just doesn't say anything. But it's almost that cold shoulder, which in a way, in and of itself, is retaliatory.
I would say,
you know what I mean?
Just to be careful, because when it comes to like retaliation and workplace, well, other people in this chat are much more experienced in these areas, but workplace disagreements that end up in court, it can get very ticky-tacky emails, things you said to each other over the water cooler, and they could like ruin your life over stupid shit. Like they could find you on social media. Like I would just say be very careful.
Right. And this is where, I mean, it's literally a hi. And it's civil on my part. And so, yes, it does make me very uncomfortable to go to work. And which really sucks because I just started my school program and I've got 2.5 years left there. And so it makes it very cringy to go to work, to the point I almost don't want to go because I know he's going to be there. And so
it's almost like you should file a just like a I don't want to like get him in trouble. I don't know the situation fully, but if you get in with HR letting them know your situation right now, it'll help you in the future if it does escalate to
they're very aware. It actually went as high as store management and probably to corporate HR. So knowing my store management. So yeah, it's well documented with what's going on. And so, yeah, no, it's just, I feel guilty because I said something and I am causing him harm in my brain because he got in trouble. I know it's a weird way to think about it.
Well, let me play devil's advocate here. Let's flip it around because, of course, everybody say, "Well, I should defend you," and your feelings are just, what if it's the other way around? What if this guy feels like he opened up and shared, and shared his output, whether it was appropriate or not, and then he was slapped down for it. Now he feels like maybe talking to you is now unsafe, and so you feel guilty and stuff. Maybe he's like, "No, I can't say anything, otherwise I'm gonna get busted." Kind of like kids were fine. I just won't say nothing at all then.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe you're just as terrifying to him.
Harm. I feel that I caused harm, but I don't feel that I should, in a way, I don't feel like I should apologize because I'm not the one that caused the offense.
Okay.
But
that's
in a way, I do feel like I should apologize because I reported it.
Maybe it's one of those where just having a meeting is like, say, "Hey, Bob, I know this struck me as wrong. I know we're reported, and I know you're probably pissed off, but we still have to work together. Can we find a way to be civil?" And very simple, cut and dry.
Yeah.
I don't hold a grudge against you. Don't share your opinions with me, but we've got to find a way to be civil. How can we do this? And maybe get some input from that individual on how you can have a civil relationship in a work environment so neither of you feel like you're walking on eggshells. Is that possible?
Maybe. I almost had. I've actually been told don't discuss it, and so that makes it difficult.
Well, I would say
that comes from leadership.
Yeah, if that's coming from leadership, it's probably the right thing. And then also, if he's crashing out, like it's one of those where like if someone's drowning, there's no point in jumping, or they want to drown. There's no point in jumping in to save them because you'll drown with them, type of thing.
Right.
Too.
Mm.
So you got to consider that as well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of perspectives. It's a very
There is, and
sticky
it's a tough
situation.
situation.
And, you know, this is some of the shadows that we talk about, whether it's our own shadows or other people's shadows. There's always those dark events in our life, whether it's trauma we cause, trauma other people cause that we have to deal with. You know, how do we deal with those? Because we all face these battles on a day-to-day basis. So trying to learn different ways to do this, or taking the knowledge or experience of other people here, is a great way to do it. Because who knows? Maybe Psy or Nexus, CK, Alpha, one of these guys will come up with an idea that maybe you and I haven't discussed before. Or maybe you happen to be watching this and you're in one of those situations and you need somebody to just be a sounding board. Not even ask for advice, but just to listen. Hey, that's what we're here for. That's what DHC is all about. And all of us, as you've seen tonight, we've been through the trauma. We understand. We've gone from the top of the food chain to the bottom. We've done about everything wrong that you possibly can in life. We're not the type to judge. We're the ones who are going to say, hey, man, been there, done that. Here's how it worked for me. You might have to find your own way. So, guys, unfortunately, we are out of time this week. But if there's a piece of knowledge that you can share with somebody out there fighting, either hiding behind their own shadow or maybe an uncomfortable situation, what would those words of wisdom be to take them out with tonight?
Don't know. Who we started with?
You, Alpha.
No. Okay. Okay. Let's see. I think I'll relate it back to what I mentioned earlier. Try to always be the better version of you today than you were yesterday. And often, funny enough, that requires you to look back in, you know, be mindful of who you were, who you are now, and see, kind of like forgive yourself for things that you've done wrong, what you might, that you can work on, because you kind of have to admit that it's something that you should be working on, or something that you can improve on. And then from there, be like, okay, yeah, now I got this. I can forgive myself for that. And I know that I can do better on this thing with this, just learning a little new information. You know, everything works. Just do a little bit each day.
Well said.
Oh, it's me. So, I actually have a good quote. I'm not going to attempt to pronounce the name. Nikos can't stand the bitch. Whatever. The quote is, the only thing I know is this: I am full of wounds and still standing on my feet. And that's all that needs to be said.
Well said. That's a powerful quote. I love that.
Yeah, that is a good quote. I like it. Well, focus on the present. Try not to judge the present based on the past, and seek understanding and connection. And y'all have fun. I will be gone next week, so don't expect to see me around. I'm going on my first ever father-son vacation. So finally, yeah,
awesome.
yeah. So
Oh, then I guess in.
no, we're gonna cruise around like the New England area and just check out a whole bunch of different things.
That is cool.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah. We're both nomads at heart. So, anywho, y'all have a great rest of your weekend, and you know, have a good one.
Excuse me, I have to say that if you're struggling with, you know, needing to make an amend or having to accept an amend somebody else is making or not making, you can always reach out to any of us here. We've got a lot of background. We're willing to help. Sometimes it's just practicing that conversation. But you're not alone in this. This is something that everybody struggles with. So we're here for you. We're all in Discord. You can always reach out to us. And have a great weekend, everybody. And we'll see you next week.
Wow, really eloquently said. We've talked about a lot of different subjects tonight, but the subject that I'd leave everyone with, because it's chased me throughout the zeitgeist, is conspiracy versus mythology. In the modern day, conspiracy is no different than mythology. It is simple stories that we tell ourselves that explain our world speculatively in a simple, neatly wound bow. But traversing and spreading conspiracies can be unhealthy in the same way that an uncomfortable, improper mythology that's harmful can be dangerous. And in our world, it's important that we all think critically, treat each other with respect, and most importantly, recognize differing opinions, because things are going to get weird and stay weird. And in the end, all we're going to have is the civility we show others. That's my word.
Well said. That was impressive. I don't know how to follow that one, man. I really don't. So, guys, I just want to remind everybody out there, everyone goes through bad times. The most important thing you can ever do is forgive yourself. Then go back and make amends for what's gone wrong. Whether you're right, you're wrong is really kind of irrelevant. Making amends and making the world a better place is the most important thing you can do. And unfortunately, until you forgive yourself, you really can't help anybody else grow. So do what it takes to make yourself a better person today than you were yesterday. And remember, what you did yesterday does not define you of who you will be tomorrow. So I love you. Stay safe, and we'll catch you next week. Have a great weekend, guys.
Night,
Have a great night.
everybody.
Take care.
Yeah.
I've walked through the fire, chased